I can't imagine as a kid that's 17, 18 years old, just signing to play professional baseball and making the big decision that you did and disappointing some in your family at the time. I can't imagine playing 1 year and then having to miss a whole season from Tommy John. Were you scared at the time? Like, I might have made the wrong decision. I might never pitch again. I might get released. What was going through your head in that time?
No, like all those things that you just mentioned went right through my head. And 17 getting, I had my surgery November 5th, 2013. So I was still 17 years old. And obviously that was almost what, 9 years ago. So obviously uh, it was way different back then than it is now. So,
Mhm.
but we still knew that there was a high chance of players coming back from that kind of injury and performing at the same level and sometimes even higher. So I think I always do a lot of research. So I did as much research as I could in 2013 and 14 to just keep myself at a good spot mentally. And then I knew that if I'm at a good spot mentally, I'm gonna be able to get through the rehab process physically to make myself better, to make myself back to being healthy. And to this day, I still tell people that 2014 I think was the biggest challenging year, but also the year that allowed me to grow the most in my career because I had to face so many challenges,
Mhm.
physically recovering from that injury, but also mentally getting the game taken away from you for that long after only experiencing my first professional season. That was not fun at all. So I think it really gave me perspective of how important the mental side of the game can be. If you're
Yeah.
mentally tough, you will be able to learn from the good experiences and take good from the bad ones. And then I think that approach I've been able to keep it as my career has been able to continue. And then I still look back at 2014 and I'm like, that was such a tough challenge, but I'm really proud of myself for getting through it. And I think getting the game taken away from me made me just stronger because I wasn't going to let that happen again. And I knew that by the time I came back in 2015, that approach, that mentality was going to allow me to cherish every single throw that I was able to
Mhm.
make and then just appreciate the opportunity and just try to make it worth it. I lost a full year of not playing. I need to make the following ones worth it. And just having that approach, that mentality, I think made a huge difference. So it was a very challenging experience, but I think I was able to get a lot of good out of it.
That's awesome. And I'm glad you share that. Thank you for sharing that because I talk a lot about the mental side of baseball and how the mental aspect of the game is just as, if not more important than the physical aspect because it is so grueling playing so many games every single day. And then another thing happened to you in your career that can get to you mentally. In July of 2017, you were traded from the Mariners to the Marlins, still as a young kid at the time, and then you're involved in a trade. You get placed in Jupiter, which, by the way, you got to Jupiter in July of 2017. I actually finished up my career with the Tigers in July of 2017 in the same league, the Florida State League, 2 days before we were making a trip to Jupiter. So I would like to apologize because if I hadn't gotten released at the time, you might have gotten to the big leagues quicker because you would have gotten to face me like probably 4 times and punch me out 4 times. So, the timing didn't work out for
We
you.
barely miss each other.
The right on right changeups always got the best of me. So you probably would have done pretty well. So not too long after, you kind of shoot through the Marlins system and end up getting the call to the big leagues. Not too long after that, about a year or so after that. And I love asking guys this question. So, what was that moment like for you after everything you shared with us, the decision you had to make, going through Tommy John, that whole process, getting traded, the moment you get the call to the big leagues? Take me through that moment.
Now, like going back to the trade, obviously, uh, it's hard not to get attached at 16 to the one team that gave you the
True.
opportunity to get into baseball. So after 5 long years of developing, getting attached to the team, realizing that my journey took a detour to a new team was a little sad in a way, but also makes you excited. It gives you a lot of intrigue because like you realize that there are other teams out there that realize of the talent you have or what you can bring to an organization. So I think that was a very good way to look at it. So I was just like, I mean, maybe this will open plenty of doors for down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that just gave me that extra gear that by the time I got to Jupiter for the last 2 months of that season, just learning a whole new system, trying to get an understanding of, okay, what these guys look seeing me, that I'm able to help them down the road. And then I think that just helped me move on to understanding, like, okay, I have an opportunity here that I can really grab onto and make it work. And then I'm able to that November they put him in the 40-man roster, which was very exciting
It's
day.
awesome.
I remember getting the phone call that I was going to be in the 40-man, so that made me really happy because it was going to be my first big league spring training camp in 2018, and then being surrounded by big leaguers and that spring training was the one of those experiences that you will never forget. You know, your first big league camp, you never forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go back, I go down to AA, AAA, and I'm going through like a good period. I'm going through like a good moment, and then just realizing that I'm getting when I get the call that I'm going to the major leagues. It was funny because my AAA manager realized that I was very good at doing my reports before the games,
Mm-hmm.
like the night before, 2 nights before. I'm always just doing reports on the teams I'm gonna face. And then he just comes to me while I'm doing my reports and like, what do you got on the New York Mets? And I'm like, well, I do know the kind of players they have, this and that. He's like, well, do you think if I give you the reports, you could make a reports on them? I'm like, well, yeah, easily. Just give me the heat maps, their stats, whatever, and I'll make a good report. He's like, okay, I'm gonna give it to you because you're gonna be facing the Mets on Saturday in Miami. And then I
No
was just like,
way.
wait, what? And then like I realized what was going on. It was really cool.
Thanks for watching. If you love flipping bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.